Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, that sounded really... I asked Mike, hey, do you want to dive in? Sure. It's like, okay, I can tell you're excited this week. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me on the line to talk about movies. Hey, Mike, what's going on?
Well, I'm totally excited because, we're just going through this story about some stuff you're going through in the background, and it's like, yeah, let's jump in. It's like, I'm excited to jump in, but at the same time, I've got that sort of psychic residual energy coming from the fact that you're going through some stuff. Massive end of the world stuff, but I assume you're about to mention it.
What did I say? I'm salty today.
Oh yeah, and I would say with good reason. So naturally, like, I'm a friend, I'm empathetical. I'm gonna feel that a little bit, but it's starting to fade, and we got stuff to talk about.
All right then. So, anyways, let's do a proper introduction, ladies and gentlemen. Joining me on the line as he does every week on the show, it is Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com. Mike is here to talk about movies and such. I have a couple ideas of what we're talking about news-wise, but what are the movies out this week, Mike?
I have a couple ideas as well, and I am indeed ready. And this week...
Just talk.
Shut the up.
You cussed before I did.
See, that's just going to be the prop bet for our show now.
There you go.
You're going to have, like, everyone on FanDuel and DraftKings are going to be like, who swears this week? Who swears first this week?
Oh, boy. All right, so movies out this week. What are we looking at?
Movies this week. I unfortunately did not see the movies of this week, but the big ones seem to be Mark Wahlberg's, I guess you would call it a biographical drama. I'm not sure. Maybe a biopic, Arthur the King. And then Netflix has a rom-com, a new rom-com with Lindsay Lohan heading out this weekend called Irish Wish.
Lindsay Lohan? Did you say Lindsay Lohan?
Yes.
What was the last? We talked about her not too long ago, right?
Well, yeah, because she's been mounting a comeback when it comes to films. I think it was last year, or I'm trying to think of when it was, but Lindsay Lohan had a Netflix Christmas movie that did pretty well.
That's what. Yeah, you're right. It was the Christmas. I thought it was a Christmas movie, but
2022, Falling for Christmas, which actually was pretty cute. And now she has a rom-com. I guess I'll start with this one. She has a rom-com this week called Irish Wish, where I believe she's in Ireland for a destination wedding. She sits on a wishing stone and sort of makes a wish for that she could be marrying this man that she was in love with in the past. And surprise, she gets zapped back in time, and she is engaged to that man.
For a second, and I feel bad saying this, but for a second, the way you started explaining it, it sounded like the exact same movie. They just switched out the holiday.
Oh, no. Falling for Christmas was a story of a hotel heiress who gets amnesia, and that was like Overboard, but make it Hallmark Christmas.
Okay.
That was basically what Falling for Christmas was. No, this is different. This is like Mr. Destiny, kind of, only no Michael Caine as a bartender.
What was the Mark Wahlberg movie?
Arthur the King, which is based on a true story about and I believe he was an endurance runner. An adventure racer adopts a stray dog named Arthur to join him in an epic endurance race. There's this thing called the Adventure Racing World Championship in the Dominican Republic. I'm reading off of Google and Wikipedia right now.
Okay.
And the man's name is Michael Linford, but they changed the name to Michael Light in the film, I guess, because of the casting. And also sometimes he's a Swedish former elite athlete, but, you cast Mark Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg's not exactly Swedish. You do what you can.
Mark Wahlberg doing a Swedish accent would be amazing.
I'm not even going to try.
Imagine him with the chef. Derb.
I'm going to let you have that.
Oh, that would be I don't even know how I got to talk to my buddy Moose because he does impressions. I got to see if that one's even possible.
So anyway, it's basically he finds a stray dog during this race, and the dog actually accompanies them on it. And it's like, I'm reading here, 435 miles or 700 kilometers, depending on which system measurement you use. And there's like, you see in the trailer, there's very treacherous things like the dog saves them from falling off a cliff, apparently. And they're like running in teams. And you've got Mark Wahlberg with Simu Liu on his team. And it looks like one of those sort of heartwarming movies. And, Mark Wahlberg's kind of been flipping into like more of the family vein as of late.
Yeah.
Like family and faith are the two big things he's been doing in movies. Like he did Father Stu a couple of years ago, and he had The Family Plan last year. You have Arthur the King. He's still doing some action because he's got a movie with Halle Berry coming to Netflix this year.
Yeah.
The Union, which was originally called Our Man in Jersey, but they decided to change the title. Boo on them. But I'm trying to see if the reviews actually broke for this one to see what sort of response it's getting. But it looks like it could be cute. The dog looks adorable.
These movies seems like one of those by the numbers inspirational movies, right?
Perhaps. We've got a 69% on Rotten Tomatoes, so it's officially at noise status.
Okay. Right.
But that's a 26 review, so we'll see what happens over the weekend. Folks, we are recording on a Thursday, and obviously, when this movie rolls out into further release, we'll see more responses and discussion and what have you. But it looks cute. I'll be interested to see how it does, and I'll be interested to see how cute it actually is eventually.
Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com on the line. So that kind of wraps up the movies for this week, right?
Yeah. There's a couple of like smaller ones that look absolutely wild. You've got Michael Keaton, I think, makes his directorial debut this weekend in a movie called Knox Goes Away. And I have not seen that yet, but I really want to see that just because I'll show up for Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
And diagnosed with a rapidly evolving form of dementia, a contract killer gets a chance to redeem himself by saving the life of his estranged son. So, yeah, I will definitely watch that. That's something that sounds similar to Liam Neeson's Memory. Well, two Liam Neeson movies, Memory and Run All Night.
Yeah.
Wow, you got Al Pacino and James Marsden in this movie, too. And Marcia Gay Harden.
So that could be interesting.
Oh, yeah, count me down for that. And then there's a movie called The Animal Kingdom where this looks absolutely wild. It looks like there's some sort of something happens where people are starting to mutate into animals, and a family is personally going through that sort of scenario themselves. The trailer looks absolutely stunning, and I would be very excited to see that.
What's it called again?
The Animal Kingdom. Yeah, I'm not sure how wide of a release that'll have, or if it's going to be on VOD as well. Because you can never really tell with some movies, especially when it gets to more of the indie films. Like sometimes they'll have a combined platform release. Yeah, theaters and VOD this weekend.
Cool. That sounds really.
So I might actually have to punch that up.
Oh, weird. The trailer. I'm just kind of scanning through the trailer. It's weird.
It looks gorgeously weird, though.
Yeah. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com is on the line with me. That kind of takes care of the movies coming out this weekend as we switch gears over to the world of movie news and entertainment news. A couple interesting stories floating around out there. Earlier this week, it was mentioned, and we've talked about the show before, but the X-Men animated series, the return of it's coming up. Apparently, the director was already fired from it. Or that's the word that's kind of coming around.
And also, there is a rumor as to why this person was fired.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of hearsay at the moment, but it's been kind of everywhere the last couple of days, and especially with this project had such buzz going into it that you thought, oh my God, this is going to be awesome, and then all of a sudden, right before it comes out, hey, the director's fired. So, anyways, did you see Wolverine's claws light up after Gambit touched him? Awesome, right?
That's I'm sure that's what some people would want us to go into. But basically what happened was, apparently early last week, according to Hollywood Reporter, Beau DeMaio, the creator of XN97, was let go. Company email deactivated, the usual, it's funny we talk about this because I'm coming up on the anniversary of getting laid off from my government contracting job back in 2013, I want to say it was. And I know this sort of dismissal. You come back from lunch, you went to BJ's Warehouse to pick up some stuff for the office because you were trusted with the P card and the membership.
Yeah.
And then you come back from lunch, you try to log on the computer, and you're not getting in. And then the vice president calls you to take a seat in his office. Your boss is there too, and you have a feeling where this is going. You still don't like it, but you got a feeling where it's going because, at that time, Mad Men had an episode called Close the Door and Take a Seat, I believe, which was about that sort of, subject matter. And you're let go from your job of several years and in a bit of limbo. I mean, obviously things turned out well where I am right now, but winding back to the point at hand, Silvio de Mayo was fired, apparently let go. I don't know how fired he was, but he was let go from the series. And the alleged reason was because he had an OnlyFans account.
Like he was on OnlyFans, like performing on OnlyFans, or like...
That is what I am assuming, that he had his own OnlyFans account, that he was, fired just before a debut. Yeah, apparently he was very active on Instagram when it was live, but now his Instagram is deleted, I believe. His OnlyFans account is deleted. Yeah, he had his own OnlyFans account, and allegedly that is why he was let go. We don't know for sure, but that's the story that has hit the internet, and that is, I'm sorry.
I want to know if he was like the masked man on OnlyFans, or if he was like just watching.
No. Well, according to one of the stories I looked at, they had a URL that said his account was Bonelyfans, like Bo, like Beau, like Bonelyfans. You got to walk really carefully around that one because you could get the wrong idea if you talk to the wrong person.
Yeah.
I am not someone to tell an employer what to do, and I am not going to do that. But from my personal opinion, that isn't representative of anyone else's unless they agree with me. I think I don't like that idea. I mean, unless he was doing something so
heinous,
wrong, or just like if there was some like horrifying things that were being said that could damage the X-Men brand, obviously that's a different thing. You know, if there is some like malfeasance going on here and something's rotten in Denmark, fine. But if this is just run-of-the-mill, like I'm supplementing my income because I would like to, make money and I am comfortable with my body, I don't think that should be, I don't think that should, I mean, there's obviously other cases we've seen where teachers have OnlyFans accounts and they get fired. I think people should be able to supplement their incomes so long as nobody gets hurt and there's no sort of defamatory, horrible things going on. Like if he was wearing a Nazi uniform, obviously that's a thing where it's like, okay, we really need to talk about your moral code.
Yeah.
But if it's just something as simple as like, I'm comfortable with myself, if you want to see me, here's the subscription link. It's like, no, but I'm mouthy. I'm very mouthy. I thought about making an OnlyFans that it would only be me in like expensive suits and like tuxedos. So I guess I'm not going to do that.
It's Mike Reyes.
I'm not going to do that.
It's Mike Reyes reviewing movies nude.
Totally the opposite of what I just said there, but okay, cool. I'm glad you've got listening comprehension skills. They're working.
So at some point, we're probably going to get some more information about this. Something else will come out. Someone will say something, what it is, what it wasn't, and we'll go from there, right?
Yeah. I mean, on the same token, to be fair here, I can see why someone would want to react like that. I could see why a company or a brand would want to act like that, especially with the heated climate that has gone on lately, especially with people claiming Disney is not as moral of a company as it should be. And Disney Plus is going to be premiering X-Men 97, which is getting, we could pivot to this afterwards, but it's getting fantastic reactions because they just did the big premiere last night. And like the first 3 episodes have been screened for some critics.
We could go round and round on this. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com on the line with me right now. Boy, there was another, the Oscars, real quick, and we don't have to like really break it down because it's a week past. What did you think?
I was pretty happy with what happened with the Oscars. The only award that I would have personally changed was I would have given Lily Gladstone Best Actress instead of Emma Stone. But that's not to say that Emma Stone was not an Academy Award winning and worthy performance.
Yeah.
She's fantastic in Poor Things. That's something that I like to call a cozy upset because it's like, okay, that would have not have been my choice, but this choice is also good. Like I can accept that. It's just like if Paul Giamatti won for Best Actor, if Oppenheimer won Best Adapted, like I would have been fine with Oppenheimer. I wanted Oppenheimer win Best Adapted Screenplay, but Cord Jefferson's American Fiction won it, and I'm really glad with that because that movie is very. You want to talk about nuanced? That is a very exciting, interesting movie that's both satirical but also warm. So. I thought in terms of who won was a pretty good spread. Poor Things cleaned up when it came to most of the craft awards. I'm just going to pull up the list here because it really is too many to remember, because obviously when you're sitting in the middle of it, you're watching and you're just going one by one, like, okay, who won this, who won that? And you're sort of taking everything in stride as it happens.
Yeah.
But I was also glad to see, and this is without being able to pick an easy winner in this category, it was cool to see Godzilla win its first Oscar after 70 years of existence for Best Visual Effects. And that's a story where this movie was made for around, if not under, 15 million. And you have your director as part of the VFX crew, which was also some history there, because Godzilla -1's VFX win gave us the first time that a director won for visual effects since Stanley Kubrick, I think, for 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Going back to Emma Stone for a second, did you see the clip of where it looked like she mouthed "what a with Jimmy Kimmel?
No, I did not.
There's a clip of her where Jimmy does some joke and I forget what the joke was, but it wasn't a great joke, and they cut to like Emma Stone, and they just happen to land on her. You can see her mouth. What a
Oh, it was apparently after a Poor Things joke, according to TMZ.
Yeah.
Kimmel made a joke about Poor Things, and she apparently whispered that. I'll have to look at what joke that was. But, they actually have a clip of the joke on TMZ.
Yeah.
But,
sorry,
what?
You brought up Emma Stone, and that's what I remember that and the John Cena moment during it. So
so the John Cena moment was hysterical. And if there's anyone that I would want to host the Oscars besides myself, I would want John Cena's on my list.
Oh, yeah.
John Cena would just be able to roll with the punches. He's clearly really good with the comedy. He's great with his delivery. Just give the dude the gig. Like, you could bring in other co-hosts that are more seasoned or other more seasoned actors to, like, anchor him down. But, like, he would be just, oh, man.
He'd be great.
You know what? John Cena, and I want to say Octavia Spencer, because I saw her presentation with Melissa McCarthy this year was one of the funniest things that happened. That would be like a wonderful pair. Or I'm trying to think of another actor, because you can't just have two dudes or two white dudes up there anymore. That's just, we need to loosen up here. It's been 25 years since Whoopi Goldberg got to host the Oscars. Like, let's do something here, man.
Yeah.
Let's change.
Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com. One closing thought about the Oscars. What is it?
I enjoyed that the show was not only earlier, but ended on time.
Okay.
I think the humor needs to be worked on. I really think we need to move away from Jimmy Kimmel as a host, especially after the Robert Downey Jr. crack. That whole thing was no good. Not good.
All right. Moving right along. You want to move over to the movie trailers that came out this week?
Yes, indeed I do.
First off, we'll get to The Crow in a second because that got released earlier today. But did you see the Fallout trailer?
Oh, yes, I did.
Looks good, right?
Give it to me now. I know critics are already, not only did they show the first episode of South by Southwest last weekend, some critics have already gotten the episodes. I don't know how many, but I know some people already have screeners, and I am intensely jealous because I've been playing since Fallout 3. And to see that world realized by people that seem to get it, but also want to do something new and exciting with it, that makes me so damn happy. And then to have people like Kyle MacLachlan and Walton Goggins in this. Walton Goggins is someone that I think, for as many people as I see building him up, I still think he's underrated.
No,
and
absolutely.
I'm hoping Fallout is one of the things that really helps him break out even further, because that man is just, I met him as Shane Vendrell from The Shield.
Yeah.
And then saw him on Righteous Gemstones, saw him in Ant-Man and the Wasp, like all these different roles that he's had over the years, and just the dude does it all. If you put side to side Shane from The Shield and Uncle Baby Billy from Righteous Gemstones, I would guarantee you could blow people's minds by just obviously you recognize his Walton Goggins, but just blow their minds by the demeanors of those characters and how polarly opposite they are. but the man just continues to crack the bat and hit the home runs. And I cannot wait to see him as a ghoul. And also, it looks like he's playing a duel of a ghoul and also a pre-apocalyptic star, like a TV star, I guess, or some sort, doing the usual vault tech shtick where he's like selling the vault. Like, that trailer just, I was already comfortable with the concept when they said Jonathan Nolan was doing it, because Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy did such a wonderful job with Westworld. And like, those are two names that, like, of course he did a lot of co-writing with his brother Christopher. And like, I will follow that man places and watch what he does. But then to see the trailer, to see the little Easter eggs, to hear I don't want to set the world on fire included in there, to see the dog and think, okay, that may not be dog meat from Fallout 4 per se, but it's an influence. It's not looking to adapt anything. It's not looking to even become Fallout 5. It is looking to be its own thing. And that's the great thing about the Fallout franchise as a game even. It's the same universe, but you're not beholden to a singular plot, a singular character every time.
You've got a whole world to work with.
And that leads to some fantastic stuff like Fallout New Vegas, which, by the way, rest in peace, Matthew Perry, who plays such a wonderful heel in that game. And like, the game opens with him plugging you and leaving you for dead, burying you in the desert of Las Vegas. And it's like, nope, I lived, bitch. And just, I love Fallout. I cannot wait for this series. It will be premiering apparently all in one shot. They're going to be putting up all the episodes April 11th on Prime Video. So yes, cool. I will brave the ads that are now on my subscription to watch Fallout.
Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com on the line with me. The other trailer that dropped earlier today, we're getting a remake of The Crow.
And for a quick, too long didn't read history lesson, a remake of The Crow has been in development since 2008. We've seen everybody from Jason Momoa to Jack Houston to Luke Evans being attached to the main role. We've seen changes in directors. We've seen studio bankruptcies, presumably canceling this thing before it got off the ground. And then it was filmed in 2022, I want to say. It was filmed in the recent past, but people were wondering, okay, when's it coming out? Cut to, I want to say it was January or maybe even last month.
Yeah.
An announcement comes out where it's like, okay, the John Wick spinoff is Ana de Armas Ballerina. We're going to push it back a year because we want to beef up the action because we like what we've seen, but we want to go harder. And then they're like, oh, by the way, the Crow remake will be taking its place on the June 2024 release schedule. So, of course, right there, it's like, okay, this is very interesting. I'm very concerned. I've been concerned since day one, and I will not forget my wife's reaction to the first image that came out. She is a diehard, she is a Crow fan through and through. She loves that original movie. I can't blame her because I love it too. I don't even think she looked at the photo, or she might have, but she literally yelled at me as if I had doomed her with knowledge that she never wanted to have. So that is why I am not going to tell her about the trailer, and I hope she does not see it.
We're just
because I have a feel like Jean Grey level compartmentalization will have to take place in her mind to not tear down the house after watching it. Which leads me to my reaction to the trailer. First of all, did you watch the trailer?
Yes, I did.
What's your background with The Crow, and what did you think?
I like The Crow. It's one of those ones. What was the other remake that came out that I was kind of like, do we really need this?
Off the top of my head, the two I can think of that a lot of people said that for were like Child's Play and RoboCop.
It's one of those,
which I actually enjoyed those.
I feel like it'll be one of those ones that it's judged based on that. If there was never the original, it would probably be an okay movie. Does that make sense?
That is exactly what I mentioned in my write-up, because it's one of those things where we have had this conversation before. It's like, look, if it was under a different name, I think people would be able to get into it. If this was not The Crow, because the name The Crow means something to a lot of people. And it's not just because of the movie, it's because of the tragic circumstances that took Brandon Lee too early from us. Matt and I had an episode about the movie on Overdue Rentals last year, and we were talking, and I even told him, like, I wonder if Brandon Lee had survived and kept building his career, could he have been the Joker in Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight?
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Or would that have somehow influenced how they depicted that character because of him still being alive and like whatever else may have happened in his career? Like, I wonder. I really wonder. But as in terms of what I saw in this trailer, it's good. It's interesting. It looks like a well put together film.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like, it doesn't look like a direct to video sequel that just got thrown together, and everybody knows The Crow has had experiences with that throughout its. This is the fifth movie to bear the name of The Crow. With your other, well, there was the original, which is coming up on 30 years this year, and then you have
City of Angels was the second one.
4 different sequels. City of Angels, I believe Wicked Prayer is another one, and Salvation.
I see. Like, I want to say City of Angels is the one that I actually didn't mind of the sequels.
Yeah, it was The Crow, then City of Angels was the first sequel, then Salvation, and then Wicked Prayer. So you're going between 1994 and 2005. You had 4 movies, and now it's the reboot machine came a calling. And I mean, when you look at the fact that Wicked Prayer was 2005 and the first mention of a reboot was from 2008. When you put it in those terms,
yeah,
it doesn't feel that off.
Yeah.
But then when you put in all of the development hell and all of these years that it didn't happen, that's when it really starts to look like, okay, I'm frightened. But again, I like RoboCop and like Child's Play, I will go in with an open mind, because I am very curious to see what this new adaptation does. I mean, it almost looks like it's more of an action-heavy film. It looks like more of an action-heavy film that just, it's more polished, it's more slick. It's not the original Crow, where that was very much a dirty, lived-in world, and it was more of a gothic crime thriller.
I forgot, just side note, I was looking up the City of Angels one. I forgot Iggy Pop was in that one.
I've never seen the sequels.
Really?
I've been curious, but I haven't been motivated enough to pull the trigger.
Gotcha. Listen,
I would like to try, especially because now you're mentioning Iggy Pop in this one. I want to see at least what happens there.
Oh, you get to know Iggy Pop pretty well in it.
I mean, there you go, ladies and gentlemen.
So, Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com. So we'll see what happens with The Crow. One story to wrap things up this week, Mike. What do you got?
There is a Deadpool 3 rumor that I have just been made aware of that sounds pretty wild.
Okay.
According to Giant Freaking Robot, which I take this with a grain of sand because it's the internet. There is apparently speculation and now confirmation that Henry Cavill will be in Deadpool and Wolverine as a Wolverine variant.
Cool.
Again, I don't know how true this is.
Yeah, totally.
But I think that's pretty exciting, and I have no problem with it. It's so out of left field. And keep in mind, this is the same week that told us that Patty Jenkins is apparently working on that Rogue Squadron movie for Disney again, for Star Wars.
Yeah. All right.
Because since Wonder Woman 3 fell apart, she came back to Lucasfilm and she's like, I want to do it. And then she's working on that again. And now Henry Cavill might be Wolverine. So Disney has some very interesting irons in the fire right now.
It always comes back to Disney, doesn't it?
I mean, they have some of the biggest IPs. They're one of the largest corporate entities in the world. And just it's hard not to talk about.
I get it.
I mean, if you want to go out on Mike Tyson putting up a training video while Jake Paul's trying to get him to fight him, we could talk about that.
Oh, for the Netflix thing?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are like, oh, Jake Paul is going to, really. I think Mike Tyson's going to murder this kid.
And that's even with apparently all of these rules that all of these there's a rumored list of special rules where Logan Paul gets to
wear headgear.
Wear headgear. He can use performance-enhancing drugs. He can tap in his brother at any point. It's like, look, admirable that you're putting these stipulations in to try and level the playing field. but you're dealing with Iron Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Stranger things have happened, and who knows where any of this is at right now. I'm not even sure if this is like a totally set fight, but that's me. You know, I don't follow this totally.
Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com. All right, man, that's going to, I think that does it for this week, right?
Yeah, I mean, unless you got something else here, I mean, I think that's it. I'm glad to chat with you more because this is just a lot of damn fun. Christopher Nolan's apparently getting a little under $100 million for Oppenheimer, so that's cool.
I can't think of anything else that happened this week. I feel like there was one other thing, but I cannot think of what it was.
Oh, the good old chasing the rabbit scenario. Those are always fun.
Don't you feel like that there was something else that happened this week?
There might have been. I mean, there's so much that happens in 1 week, but which makes it even creepier.
Yeah.
And I mean, there are other things like, you know, circling back to the Oscars for a moment. Ryan Gosling's I'm Just Ken performance was fantastic. And apparently Martin Scorsese was jamming out to it, and his daughter caught him for Instagram. And the footage is amazing. And then they even pointed out, like, Ryan Gosling gestured to a pendant on his neck that I guess is something that means something for his wife and his daughter, or for his partner and his daughter, because we don't know if he's married to Eva Mendes. That's one of the great mysteries of the world.
Yes.
But, like, that was a gesture to his family. And then Simu Liu was dancing with a torn Achilles tendon. Slash shows up out of nowhere to throw in an awesome guitar solo, and then there's backstage photos of him wearing a T-shirt from The Witch with like Black Phillip on it. Like that was probably one of the other moments that won the night if it wasn't for John Cena's streaking.
All right. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joins me every week on the show to talk about movies. We'll leave it there for this week. Mike, take care. Have a good weekend, and we'll see you next time. Or what does Truman say? In case I miss you.
I don't see you. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Did you see my dark sequel to Truman Show, the post I put up?
I did, but remind me of it again since we're going to leave this in and we're going extra innings here.
Okay, real quick. My dark sequel to the Truman Show is he escapes. Jim Carrey's character escapes, right? From the dome or whatever it is. They capture him and put him back in, but this time all the cameras are there and stuff, but there's no people. They drop in food and supplies to keep him alive, but there is absolutely no people. He has no contact with the outside world, and it's just him slowly going insane.
Ooh.
Dark, right?
It's so dark. That's something we're going to have to discuss at some point. Like, not now, obviously, because we've chosen our exit, but that is something that I really need to roll around in my mind because I kind of think it's a bad idea. Because
here's the other thing about it. You not only show him struggling on the inside, but on the outside, that movement of people that were wanting to free Truman grows a lot bigger, and then all of a sudden you have the Hunger Games.
Oh, man. To wrap up, this is another one of those cases where if you put it under a different name, yeah, sure. But attached to the Truman Show, absolutely not.
Oh, I want to see it.
Like, cast Jim Carrey in it. Fine, Jim Carrey's a good dude. I love his skills. Dude is acting again and came back for Sonic 3.
What if it's a surprise sequel to the Truman Show? Like they don't market it as the Truman Show. Like all of a sudden it's just towards the end you're like, holy shit, that's Truman.
I still don't like it. I don't care if you get Ed Harris to come back and be revealed to have been living in those wastes this whole time and give them a 20-minute monologue about fate and causality. I'm just, no. Like, again, take the name off, fine, maybe we're working with something here. I love that ending of the Truman Show so much, and I love that film so much. And they already had darker stuff planned. Like there was, I think there was a scene that cut where like he was gonna try and throw someone's kid or something, because like he escapes and goes into a studio tour.
Yeah.
And then he sees people like looking around, like walking around the studio that the show was made at. And then he like just doesn't trust reality enough, I guess. And he just goes into some really weird stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't know.
I like mine. I want to see Truman suffer. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joins me every week on the show to talk about movies. We'll leave it there. Mike, have a great weekend. Okay, buddy?
And in case I don't see you, lose hope, give up on faith, and may the odds ever be in your favor.